So today we're going to be talking about project we done in Aerogear called GraphBack. I'm today with Ankit Jena, who's the main developer and contributor to GraphBack. My name is Wojtek. So this project was done as part of the Google Summer of Code. In this live stream, we're going to be talking about first about motivation for making this project, and then Ankit is going to do the quick demo. So first of all, when we're building the application, there's always two layers. We're thinking about the business problems we are facing, about the technologies that we can use, and those technologies, there are many different ways to pick the different technologies to build a front end and a back end solution. And we always start with something that's called stack. So different companies will use different stacks, which are mainly languages or deployment targets, tools they use, CI/CD solutions, and all of that will make this business software to appear for the customers, and it's being backed by some kind of specific technology. In Aerogear, we're thinking that actually building our stack can be a little bit difficult because there's so many different options. Apart from that, your software stack needs to evolve. There's so many libraries get outdated, and you need to have this agility to evolve your stack at any point. And if you're a company like Airbnb or Google, you definitely have your own stack because they're part of your product. But if you're starting with technologies, you have two options. You can build your own stack, or you can take a look on the internet and check if there's available templates for the technology you want to use. The problem with that is that sometimes the templates that we can use are outdated, or they may contain the business logic that maybe not matching our regular needs. So finding these templates can be really hard. We need to adjust them, and there's always this chicken and egg problem. So chicken will be the fully functional application that gives us this boost straight away. So we can use this software, we can just make small modifications, and we have all the problems resolved. But in the meantime, we're kind of losing flexibility. So if you want a greater flexibility around what we do, if our project differentiates a lot, we need to start with something really small, but that means that many patterns needs to be applied manually later. So we are thinking, can we detach the business logic from application templates? And additionally, can we introduce the standard way of building a Node.js backend? To do that, you often need to think about what will be the representation of the business data or business models. So there are a couple of standards out there. There's like UML, there's OpenAPI, and there's GraphQL. Our team chose to use GraphQL mainly because it kind of resolved the problem between client and server. So you can build the schema that contains your business types, and you can also define operations that you can work on. So these operations could be query, or you can just mutate the data, and it gives you clarity on both client and the server. However, building the backends, it's actually not that easy. There are so many challenges that developers need to start with. The templates provided by community giving some boosts, but it's still not enough. You need to resolve so many problems. If you're actually looking forward for checking what kind of problems you can hit when building GraphQL, there's a really good blog post from Prisma that explains that really carefully. Basing on that, we created GraphBack project that targets to extend the Apollo, GraphQL, and GraphQL specification to give you that boost and generation capabilities to build the backend out of the box in really short time. So what GraphBack targets is that once you have an app that's being built, you can use you can build the backend and have it out there as a data source that will provide the source of data for your application, and you can build it instantly. So the way it works is that when starting working with GraphBack, you need to pick the type. So you're working with your team on business logic, you collecting requirements, and you building this something called GraphQL schema. Then this schema will be joined together with the template, which will be the stack set of libraries you want to use together with your business logic. And then what happens is that the GraphBack is going to do generation. We will generate the code for you that will connect the stack that you picked with your business objects. What you're getting is the fully functional server with the database. So GraphBack will also connect to the database and make required changes to the database schema. And then after that, you can publish it to any cloud provider. You can make the Docker container and so on. We utilize many different community libraries like GraphQL modules, Sofa, Apollo, and Prisma. We also base on the robust set of libraries that our own community is building. GraphBack is resolving problems for the backend, but we also have a support for the client. Mainly, we generate this ready-to-go queries and mutations that can be used to query the data. We also utilize a project called GraphQL Code Generator that gives you that type safety, and we also utilizing the Uniforms project that gives you form-based functionality, so you can build the forms dynamically basing on your schema. So all of this together will give you this really rapid application development cycle that you can push to production in really short time. So now it's the time to move to the GraphBack demo. I'm giving the voice to Ankit, who is going to present it.
Hello everyone, I am Ankit. I've been working for the last 3 months on GraphBack, and like Vostek explained to you, so it allows you to get started with GraphBack really quickly. So let's go create a server for ourselves. We're going to do that using GraphBack init. I'm going to name our project folder GraphQL server. So GraphBack asks you so we're gonna choose Apollo starter. We're going to include a model and we choose that node, and we're going to choose database as PostgreSQL, and we're not going to generate client-side queries. So first question was choose a template to bootstrap. Right now, what Sheikh talked about the stacks, GraphQL provides two stacks currently. One is Apollo starter using TypeScript, and another is Apollo starter which exposes a REST API also using Sofa API. About the model, GraphBack relies heavily on the data model, which is written in GraphQL syntax, and we'll see what we have generated as the node model in the code base. We currently support PostgreSQL and SQLite only. We chose to go with PostgreSQL now, and we didn't use client-side queries right now. So let's go into our project folder and open it to see what we got. So like you can see, all these files, the template is bootstrapped for you. And let's go into the model file and see what the node model is. So we have a model here. There are two types. One is a node model, which has an ID field, a title field, a description, a comment type, which has an ID and a text field. And the node has a one-to-many relationship with comments using a one-to-many relationship. Now let's check out our next command, which is going to do magic, and it is GraphBack generate. So let's go into our schema file to see what we generated from this. So as you can see, from the node model, we generated a schema for us which included both the types with relations, and it included the input types, the filters, and most importantly, it generates CRUD operations for us. In here, there's the find and find all for both the types with the create and update notation. So GraphBack relies on the config.json at the root of your project, which is more like a settings file for your project, and you can use it to configure what you want or not. So like you can see, the delete mutation is defined as false here. So not a a delete mutation is not generated in the schema. So let's go into the resolvers. The best thing about this is that the resolvers are already implemented according to your database choice, and you don't need to worry about them. And one more thing about the directives, we also provide directives which allow you to configure each type separately to disable or enable them. So now let's start our services using Docker Compose, which is going to be our Postgres server. Done.
I think we lost you
So
for a
everything is
second.
set up.
If you like, what we done is started Docker Compose and then we done the GraphBack.db.
We done GraphBack.db. Now let's go and rebuild our server. And build our server, it's just based on TypeScript, and start it. So let's open up the playground and test a few of our queries. So as you can see, there are two mutations and a query here: create node and create comment. So let's go ahead and create a node first. Now let's change the description, title and description a bit, and create another node. Now let's add a few comments to this. We're gonna do first description here and create a comment, and one more comment to this node. I'm going to change the node ID to 2 and add one more comment. So now let's execute the find nodes query and see what we got. So as you can see, there are the two nodes returned to us in all nodes with the comments as an array because of the one-to-many relationship. So that's it for the demo. There is GraphBack features a lot of other things. You can read about it in the documentation Graphback.dev. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much, guys. We are open now to the questions. If you have any questions, let me go through the chat. If there are any other questions, if not, we can call it a day.